So now for our login, let's go to the login screen. Okay, these are your forms. These forms you created, they are not, you have to adjust them so that they look alike. They don't look alike at all. Different designs. Okay. Apart from here, this thing I added, you just add it like, let it be the same design with, and use your edges. Okay. So you have to add something like this too. Okay, you added it, but you made it center and the other one you make this one. So those are just for design actually. So now, when a user logs in, okay, like when the user logs in, we want the user to be taken to a dashboard. The dashboard should be the index, right? Okay, let me open it somewhere else. Okay, let's say this slash dashboard, that is index.php. Is it HTML? It's supposed to be PHP. Okay, let's rename this. Okay, we use it in PHP to be better that way. Okay, there's a dashboard. Okay, this place is supposed to be sticky top. So please edit your designs. Look at your designs and correct some of this. Okay, so when we log in here, we're supposed to come to the dashboard. That means if you're not logged in, okay, if you're not logged in, you're not supposed to have access to this what's it called, this dashboard. Okay, so now I'm going to what we're going to use is a session, PHP session. Okay, now session has the ability to store data within your browser. Okay, so when you store data within your browser, those data now can be retrieved at any point in time to make some validation and verification of who is making use of that your page at a given time. Okay, then apart from that one I'm talking in context of restricting user now, but apart from that, there are a lot of things that the session can also do. Okay, so now for us to work with session in PHP, we have to first of all start the session on any page that we want to call upon session on. Okay, so here now in this index.html, because I want to use section in it, before I do anything, that is even before my doc type declaration, I'll have to open a session by saying yes. On any page that you want to make reference to session, you have to do this. Any page at all that you want to make reference to a session, you want a session to work in it, you have to do on top of it, before anything at all, you simply do session underscore starts. Okay, so when you do session underscore start like this, it will just enable session on the page. Okay, so when you enable session on the page, now somewhere within the page you cannot check for some session variables, and those session variables now will be set during login. That means when you are logging into the application, it will automatically declare a session variable and set a value to it. So when you set the value to the session variable, anytime you are validating, you check for that particular variable and the value on the variable. You understand? Now how do we do that variable? Let me just first of all do the check first. Okay, so here somewhere within the body of my work, I can simply open a PHP here, close the PHP. Okay, so when I open and close this PHP, then the next thing I'm going to do I'm going to simply say do an if statement here. So the if statement, I'm going to check if a session variable is set by using the isSet method. So I will say if isSet. Okay, now how do I check the session variable? Session variable are usually declared with $_section. Okay, $_section with a square bracket. Now inside this you now put the variable. Okay, now let's just say let's assume we have a variable called active user. Okay, active_user. Okay, if you set active_user. Okay, now then we'll allow the user to stay on the page, else. Okay, now why I did it like this is because I might want to do extra check here. Okay, this one now is simply saying, okay, yes, there's a session variable like this. Okay, now we can still do something like, and this session variable is not empty, because it must not be empty, because there's every tendency that the variable exists but there's no value in it. You understand? So, and I can still say, and I can still say, and okay, this guy is not equal to an empty string. Okay, so this must not be equal to an empty string. So if these two, if it's set and it's not an empty string, then we can see also do other checks here. Okay, but if not, what will happen? Now we can redirect. Now in JavaScript we've seen how to redirect here, windows.location hyperreference blah blah blah. Okay, but here in PHP we have to say header. Okay, same header, but we'll say location this time around. That means we want to change the location of this thing, so we restrict it. I'll take it to the login. Since they are the same place, I'll simply just call login.php. That means if you are not logged in, if this session is not set, that means that you are not logged in, so you should go and log in. Hope you understand. So with this, if I come here, I refresh this page again, it's going to take me to login. And if I try to access it manually again, index.php, I cannot access it again. Okay, because until I log in. And how do I log in? I have to set these variables. And before I set this variable, that means on the login you have to check if the user exists, then set this variable, then before you redirect to the index. Okay, so on our backend we're also going to create another script that will handle the login for us. So here on the backend, I'll simply create a variable called login user. Okay, .php. Okay, so login user.php. Now on this variable, on this file rather, I'm also going to do something similar. So let me copy this into it. Okay, so now here, sorry, not connection. Yes, let me just copy this whole thing into it. Okay, so when I copy this whole thing into it, now what I'm going to do is I'll remove the full name exactly. Okay, so I'll still require the email and password. Okay, now I'll do the check here. Now this check, now if it exists, if it's greater than 0, that means it exists. Okay, so I hope you understand me. That means it exists. So the ball is going to change here now. Okay, let me take this out. Okay, okay, so else, that means is not existing. Okay, this is where the unprocessed is unprocessed. So we'll now say, let's say email or password, or how do we normally speak that English?
Email or password not correct.
Yeah. Okay, let's use your English. So that is just it. So now, if for instance the user exists, in this case we have to set the session variable. But mind you, we cannot just set session variable when we've not initialized the session. So we also initialize the session here. Okay, yes, so we also initialize the session by saying session underscore start, without which we cannot set a session variable and it will work. Okay, session underscore start. So here now on the index we're looking for this session variable. Okay, so what I will simply do here now is just set the session variable is equal to the current email, that is the user email. Okay, since it exists. Okay, now this is based on your preference too, because in some cases I might want to get other data. Okay, I might want to get other data, but I'm just trying to make it as simple as possible. Maybe we might refine the login, because normally we have other data that we can get. Let's say we want to get the avatar, want to get the full name. Okay, we want to get, if there is a phone number. Okay, maybe store them somewhere so that whenever we want to use them we don't need to, you know, query the database again. You understand? So I can store them somewhere inside. I can use different variables. So that means I'll have to use this guy, collect the data that are gotten from this query. Okay, I'm going to do something similar here on this extra check. So let's just do it simple for now. So I just got this email, put it as this thing as the active user, then after which I'll return a success. Okay, so I'll simply echo a success to our response. Okay, so now login user, we're done with the login user. Okay, when we return a success to it, then our login.php here, that means we'll have to create an AJAX request because we've not created the AJAX request. So let me just copy this script, okay, because it's something similar. Yes, I put it on the login, but the difference will be we'll check, first of all we'll check our inputs if they are bearing the same name with the input we have here, username and password. So the only thing we don't have is a full name. Then we don't need to check this guy. Okay, we don't need to check this guy, so we don't need this check as well. Okay, so this check will go out. So I'm just editing to suit this so that we'll be fast. Then form register, their form have a name. Okay, login form. Okay, so we are going to make reference to the login form. So on form login dot submit, prevent the default, get the values, which is the email and password. Okay, then when you get the value, then send this to backend login user, right? Login user. So login user. So this is now our endpoint. Okay, so now what we are going to do is if the response is success, okay, then what we'll do is to redirect the user to index.php. That means you have logged in successfully. Okay, so that's just it. We don't need to do any other thing. It should work. Okay, so except we forgot to change something. Okay, let's just try it out first. Okay, so here I'll simply click on this and I try to log in justice, and I click on login. Okay, now what happened is jQuery is not connected, so I'll also copy jQuery so that will be fast. Copy jQuery into this. Okay, so I'll save this and I'll save this. Okay, so we'll try again. Okay, we'll try login, and nothing worked. So what we're going to do, let me try again and see if it might refresh my network. Okay, so what we're going to do is now we're going to let's remove this. Okay, sorry, let's remove this redirects. Okay, so let's see what's going on so that it will not redirect, because I'm suspecting that. Okay, so when we do this, it's still redirecting, so that means our login form, we should check it very well. Okay, you used name here. You used name here. Okay, so we have to give it an ID, or we use name. Okay, if we want to use name here, we can use name by saying form, right? That's the name. Okay, we'll put this where name is equal to this. Okay, or we'll use the ID, just like how we did to the register parts. ID.
The form, that login button.
The login button. The login. This button is supposed to be by default type submit. Okay, type submit. As long as it's inside a form, anytime you click on it, it will submit the form. You understand? So what we are targeting is on submit of the form, because this button will automatically submit the form. Okay, so that's what we are looking at. Okay, so here, if we do this now and do this, okay, we have 422 incorrect password. I sensed we will have this issue because of encryption. Okay, so this yes, I converted it to MD5. I always have this issue. Okay, sorry. We're not even supposed to have it because I'm not actually checking the password here, of which we are supposed to check the password. So for us to have this, we are having a 422 error. Okay, now this is because we have a problem here. Okay, line 5 and line 6, undefined index, email and password. Okay, from our network we detected that. On our response we're not getting that. Now why do we get undefined? Now let's check the request that went through. There was no request. That is an error. Okay, so there was no request. Why is there no request? We have form data here. Send form data from our form. They're supposed to be. So now let's check if we have ID. Look at and look at. Okay, Faith, are you still with us? So let's make use of what you saw the error now. The ID that we are targeting is different from the ID. It said TST email, TST password. So here we're supposed to have this according to. It said that we change here.
Change it to email.
No, let me do it like this, so that when you are going through your code, you know that okay, this is according to how your HTML ID is. Okay, so that is what was going on. We're submitting, but there was no data going with it. Okay, as long as there's no data going in it with it, we'll have an error from our back. Okay, so I refresh this page and I put this guy, so we check it, and this time around we got a success back. Now here we see the request now. getting the data. Okay, so now, but there's something else I also noticed here, that we're not supposed to check just the email, we're supposed to check the password as well. So we're supposed to add to this guy by saying and, okay, let me use capital letter, and password is equal to, okay, so we'll put the password here. Okay, so with this we simply check this again. So I click on this and I click on this, so we'll get the same, we got a very good response. So as I change the password and I click on this, we'll get email or password is not correct. Okay, so now what we are going to do here now is, since we've rectified the problem, we will have to uncomment our reload. Okay, so and see if actually our data our session was set. So I'll click on this. Sorry, I have to reload this. Okay, so I do this, I click on this, automatically takes me to register. Okay, so now I'm on register. Then anytime I want to access my, I'm on dashboard. Anytime I want to access my dashboard, the session has already been set, so my dashboard, I can access it freely. Then the last thing I want to do here now, I'll have to do a logout, because since the session was created, you have to log out too. Okay, so now I'll create a logout. Okay, logout dot PHP. Okay, so on the logout.php, what we need to do is to destroy the section. Okay, we have to destroy the section. Okay, now here, now since we're already here, anytime I visit this, even though I go back here, or I go to the main file here, okay, and I come back here, sign in. Okay, we can also do something here too. Actually, this thing we did on the index, this thing we did on the index, we can do it on the login. Okay, we can do it on the login. Okay, that means we have to set yes, we have to initiate the session here too. Okay, so we'll simply say PHP. Okay, now session underscore starts. Okay, now look at what I want to do here now. Here, if the session is set, okay, if the session is set here, that means we're already logged in. We are not supposed to see login form. You understand? Since there's a session, so redirect us.
Is it because you go back and see the login?
Yes, exactly.
You're not supposed to see.
Though it depends on you, it depends on your preference though. But most sites, that is how it is done. As long as you are logged in, you are not supposed to see a login page again. That means the login page is supposed to detect that you are logging, so take you directly to dashboard. You understand? So here now we'll simply say location.
Take us to our home page.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so index dot php. Okay, so that means if you are logged in. Okay, so with this, if I refresh this login page now, I'll go back, so I can no longer access the login page. So even though I go back, I click on sign in, to automatically take me to dashboard because I'm logged in. Okay, so for me to log out now, I have to destroy this section. Okay, all my things, both so
Logout.
now log out. Now we can unset this section. Okay, we can simply unset this section. Okay, so what we'll do is, first of all, we have to make sure that we initialize the session so that we'll be able to have access to any session that was that is active. Okay, so say starts. Okay,
Wait a minute.
Ebube and one about should bring the gen in, please. Okay, so when it starts the session, I can simply say onset. Okay, onset this session. Okay, when I onset this, okay, now in some cases what I normally do is I can also do session, just as the way you started session. You can say session destroy too. Okay, but the problem with this session destroy is it will destroy all the session that you have. You understand? So if maybe for instance you set a lot of data on the session, you just say session destroy all the session. But I think this might affect some other websites that you are depending on what was used for the website. Like if you are building most of your sites and you use this similar pattern in building, when you say session destroy, if any of other of your website that use something like this to build and you did that particularly to destroy it, so if you want to select the particular session to destroy, you simply just unset a particular session, then after which you can now redirect to the yes, which is we are inside logins. That means we have to go back. Okay, so we have to say location. Okay, location will be dot slash, because we are coming out of admin. Okay, to index dot php. Okay,
But it's not doing it on the login.
okay, so now that we've done this, now the next thing we'll do now is come to our index, go to that logout button. Now we link it to logout.
Okay.
That's all. Logout.php. Okay, so it will just redirect you to logout.php. Now when it redirects you to logout, to come to logout will start a session, destroy this guy, and redirect you back to index. Okay, so that is just it. So when we come and refresh this, we click on logout to take us to index. So something the way got this guy wrong. Okay, let's just say
Let's see.
uh
No dot is inside is inside there.
this is our index here now, so it's supposed to come out, but let's use one particular dot here. So if we go back here, we'll go to login again, so we log out, takes us to this. It's supposed to go back from admin. Okay, I don't know why it's like this. Okay, let's just say slash. Okay, so let's log in again, then log out.
So remove this.
Sample blog. Okay, we are on the right track actually.
Yeah.
Okay, we are on the right track. So this is index.html. So let's just
We use HTML.
so let's just change it to PHP. Yeah. Okay, so we say PHP. Okay, that's it. So we now have our page. So if we go to sign in again, come sign in, then we log out, takes us back here. Okay, so that is just it.